Hey guys, it's Richard Matthews with Matthews Wealth Management. Today we're going to be talking about paying down some debt. Everybody enjoys talking about debt, but I've done a lot of teaching over the years, done Dave Ramsey courses and so forth, and there's a lot of simplified rules to make sure that you're paying down debt efficiently. A lot of it is based psychologically on giving people rewards and getting them to actually do the work of paying down debt. But I did want to dive in today and kind of go over some details about how to really optimize your debt payments. So what we're going to do is look at a hypothetical example that is, I think, very common, very representative of the typical client that I'll bring in, maybe a young entrepreneur or somebody looking to start paying down the debt and working towards that retirement goal that's maybe 30, 40 years away. So anyway, here's what we've got as far as lenders and balances. So a Home Depot loan, obviously they've been doing some work around the house. Maybe the wife is going to Kohl's. They've got a Target card. The Visa, kind of the catch-all that a lot of people will go on vacation with, or just some other loose ends that they need to buy. And then there's a home equity line of credit as well from the bank. So those work kind of similarly, where you take out some money, you pay some interest as you go. And then we've got the associated interest rates that are also very typical to these lenders. So 17% at Home Depot, 19% at Kohl's, $14.99 at Target, a 10% credit card with Visa, and a 7% HELOC. So most of these, you'll see minimum payments. Minimum payments are a way to infinitely pay down a debt, but 25s, a 50, and a 150. So we have to pay at least $275 as an ongoing cost of keeping these things open, basically. But the traditional line of thinking, you hear some people saying, you know what, pay down the highest interest first. 19% is a problem, right? That's the highest interest rate here. 7% is not hurting you as bad because this one's higher. The flip side of it, if you look at the Dave Ramsey method, which I do endorse, I do like Dave Ramsey and what they push, they'll say pay down the smallest one first. And take any kind of excess above the minimums and focus on taking out the small ones. And that creates some little wins that make you feel like you're accomplishing things, and there's a lot of good reason to do that. We're going to talk about the math today, though, and exactly how we want to structure this. So those are the two basic options of how you'll hear people discuss this. What I want to do is actually add another column here. Before we determine what our payment is going to be, our ultimate payment towards each of these, we need to figure out something that is the real issue that we rarely will look at. And we're going to call that, instead of interest rate, interest dollars. So we need to know how much it's costing us in dollars of interest on these as it goes. So if you've seen our minimizing mortgage interest video out there, it's similar, where we're going to look at what is the cost of this loan to be paid. So it's a very simple calculation. You take 2,500 times 0.17. That's how much interest it's costing you on an annualized basis to keep this thing open at this balance. So if we fill in this column for every one of these, that'll give us a very different way to look at how to pay off what. So I'm going to use my cheat sheet here off of Excel. I've already calculated all of these. So Home Depot, we've got the interest cost of $425. Kohl's, we take our 750 times 0.19, and that's going to be $137.75. Then we've got Target, the $500 at almost 15%. That's going to be only $74.95. Then we come over to Visa. Visa is one of our big ones, $5,500 at 10%. That's pretty straightforward. Don't need a calculator for that one. So we got $550 there. Then you come back to the home equity line of credit, $10,300 at 7%. Our interest cost per year is going to be $721.00. That's nice. So sorry about the marker. I'm not going to redo or reshoot this, but the marker is dying here. So we've got a total interest cost going on on all of this debt of $1,908.70. So when we look at it this way, this tells us a very different story. We talked about evaluating based on a rate. We talked about evaluating based on a balance. But if we actually evaluate based on what's costing us the most as our time goes on, the highest cost here is $721. It's the one that's the highest balance in this instance, and 7%. It was actually the lowest interest rate, but generating the highest cost just because of the balance. So if you're looking at either balance or rate, why not combine them together and look at the actual cost? So what we want to do is we want to target the ones that are costing us the most. So 721 will be our first priority. Then we'll go to the 500, that's our second priority. Then we'll come up to Home Depot, that's our third. Then we've got our fourth, and we got our fifth. Okay? So you just go from what's costing you the most to what's costing you the least, because you can let the stuff that's costing you the least get away with it. So if we're focusing on our number one priority here of the HELOC, we're going to put as much money as we can out of our budget that's allocated towards debt payments towards that goal of paying that one down first. So you may not get the quick wins through the debt snowball that Dave Ramsey pushes, and that does make sense. You'd knock some of these out very quickly, but you can see just by paying off what's the smallest one, it's actually your least costly one to leave on the books. So in this example, I just kind of want to finish it up by showing what would this look like on a monthly basis if we've got $700 a month that we're going to put towards our debt, right? So everybody's got different budgets, different prioritizations. A lot of people don't want to be on debt, so they could put through a lot more money towards this. But what we would do is, obviously, we've got to cover our minimums for everything that's not our priority. So we put our 25. Oh, it is completely dead now. 25, 25, 25, and 50. So those are our minimum payments. Let's go ahead and let those ride because they're not costing us as much as this one is. And of our 721, we just subtract our minimums from our 700, which leaves 575. If you can see that, that is a 575 as a payment towards the HELOC. And so we're going to pay that. We're going to reevaluate this at least once a year, sometimes every month or every quarter. Just look at calculating this. It's very simple math. This is probably third or fourth grade level stuff when you're multiplying. So anyway, just look for what's costing you the most. You always want to pay off what costs you the most, or invest in the things that make you the most. So there's always that how much to save versus how much to pay off. Assets and debts, balance sheet management, that's a whole nother topic. But in this instance, the way that this works out, we definitely want to pay off the HELOC first, and then we'll work towards the next thing that costs us the second most, which would be the Visa, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So if you got any questions about this, if you need some help with it, reach out to us. Otherwise, join us next time and we'll see you there.